Hello everybody, Andy here, and today on the beautiful channel of the Daily Slop, as I'm going to call myself, as I'm doing just literally reading a Warcom article, we have the Vespid and what their rules and particularly their weapons are going to be. And let me just quick aside before I get to just read. I'm literally just going to read the Warcom article to you, hence why I'm referring to my video as the Daily Slop. With Normally, as you know, I get review copies from GW for Kill Team products. Normally, and so normally when they're doing their kind of preview articles, I'm a bit tuned off because I already have the rules sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But for this one, I legitimately do not know what the rules are. So I'm actually pretty hyped. No clue what's going on with the Vespid. So this is going to be totally brand new and fresh for me. And one of the things that I really enjoy, this is a bit of a treat for me because normally I already know and I'm faking it. Much like your intrusive thoughts on that one. My bad. So normally I'm faking it. This time, no clue. So I'm actually pretty hyped. And so I hope that you allow me a little bit of self-indulgence on this video where I'm legitimately just going to find out what they are saying with you. Okay, I haven't read the article because it's a really, really long article. I thought, Andy, do the viewers a service, read the article for them. If you want a nice, concise summary of this article, other channels are going to do that for you. That's not what this video is. I'm reading it. You are seeing me read it to you. Okay, let's dive in. Once again, we're going to shrinkify me. Who would have guessed I could get any smaller, but it works. Lovely jubbly. Okay, let's get into it. The first paragraph doesn't matter. The video was pretty fluffy. It didn't give us anything that isn't going to be said in the article, I'm willing to bet. Okay, let's crack on. So, the Vespid Stingwings are one of the most maneuverable kill teams to date, and their natural ability to fly, and they've put fly in bold, therefore it's a keyword, it's a word, so obviously they're all going to have the keyword fly. Above the kill zone is the core of a diverse suite of rules. This ability is a great indicator of the clearer, more concise rules found in the new edition, as rather than acting like a normal move with line after line of exceptions to terrain height, control zones and the like, fly now requires you to simply pick up the operative and put them back down somewhere within their movement range, nothing more. They've done an asterisk. Unless you're fighting aboard Killzone Gallowdark, even Vespid find it difficult to burrow through the enclosed ceilings. Okay, cool. So, nice. I suspect what this means is they've just cleared up fly keywords. So it used to be fly was honestly a little bit weird in how they described it. Now, what they've done is something I suggested that they figure out they need a new keyword when they're discussing rules. So obviously they've changed move to be reposition, and now they've changed fly to just be pick it up and move it. Place it. They need a definition for place a model. So you place a model is different to moving it. It kind of feels like this is what they've done, which is a good decision. This gives Vespid operatives unparalleled agility in and around terrain, as they don't need to worry about intervening walls and whether or not they can find a climbing surface, and they can also neatly avoid traps set up to snare less nimble teams. Flying does adhere to most other game rules, however, so you still need to charge to get into control range. Yes, so for what they're saying, fly is now just pick it up, put it down. Don't measure height, don't measure anything. You move whatever their movement range is. I'm hoping it's a bit faster than 6. Let's guess 8, right? But who knows, right? Who knows? Cool. So that means if you can just move as the crow flies. However, you would measure diagonally. You're picking up, you're placing, right? Vespids don't just use their wings for traversal either, as the harmonics projected by their fluttering induce a strange resonance with their weapons' neutron crystals, giving them the armor-piercing punch they're rightly feared for. In Kill Team, this manifests as the powerful Piercing 1 rule. And then we just saw the double asterisk. That is the new terminology for armor-piercing 1. So they've changed armor-piercing to piercing. I'm going to guess the reason for this is because, and we all know, we've all been there, it's because APL and AP the same. Because we'd start to say in colloquial, oh, that costs that. Oh, no, not colloquial. Sorry, it's in the rules. How much does that ability cost? AP1. What's the AP of your gun? AP1. It's like, oh, man, fine. So this is good. It's now going to be piercing 1. Although, just off the top of my head, hey, bud, your gun, what's its special rules? It's got, I'm not going to say piercing. I'm not a scrub. I'm going to say it's got P1. Oh, P1. That obviously means piercing 1. But of course, it also, in the old edition, meant penetration 1, which would be, you know, it becomes AP1 on a crit. I'm just saying that feels like something that us old timers, us boomers are going to have to, us kill team boomers are going to have to figure out, because it's not. Okay, anyway, so if you move, you get you become AP1. No, we got to update, guys. You become piercing 1. Nice. So long as the operative has moved or used fly in the same turning point. Providing commanders with a tough choice between spending their action points on movement and thus powering up their guns or taking other mission actions. Now, it says move, so, oh, this article is going to take ages, isn't it? My bad, guys. Moved or used fly. So moved, presumably there is the colloquial, you could dash and then shoot and you'd still get it because you have moved a tool. But you don't have to use your fly keyword. I don't know. Anyway, cool. Neutron charge. Neutron weapons are powered by radioactive crystals from the Vespid's homeworld. The harmonic thrumming of Vespid's wings resonates within the crystals to charge them. When unleashed, even heavy combat armor can barely protect against this atom-stripping energy charge. So, Vespids were originally designed in the lore. They did have a lore article, by the way, as like marine killers. I remember, if you recall the cinematic trailer, what I saw some people say, this doesn't. Somebody in my comments said this doesn't. This is stupid. How can a bunch of Vespid kill like Elite of the Elite, Tempestus Scions? And it's like, what are you talking about? They kill Marines. Like, these guys are nuts. Which is obviously something that doesn't really come across in just they're a bunch of bugs, but 40k is dumb. Don't think about it too much. Neutron weapons are any weapons that have the word neutron in their name, e.g. neutron blaster, neutron grenade launcher, etc. Whenever a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative moves or uses fly, its neutron weapons have the piercing 1 weapon rule until the end of the turning point. Nice. Which means they'd also be able to use it for things like Overwatch. Alas, despite their self-sufficiency and can-do attitude in battle, Stingwing teams struggle to communicate naturally with their tower handlers and rely on the Strain Leader's high-tech communion helm to bridge the strategic gap. Without direction from a level-headed liaison, Vespid can revert to their aggressive and warlike ways, and the fast-paced nature of their missions means even the best commanders struggle to rein them all in at once. Revert to their aggressive and warlike ways. That's fine. To represent this constant effort to keep the Vespid focused on and on task, communion points must be allocated to direct the operative's attention towards mission objectives and less immediate targets. Communion. Oh, God. Don't you just love getting a rules article? Isn't it just bloody great? Love that. Love that. Okay. Communion points are used to maintain the tactical focus of friendly Vespid Stingwings operatives. In the ready step of each strategy phase, remove all communion points from the previous turning point. Then you gain D3 communion points plus 1 if a friendly oversight drone operative is in the kill zone. Communion points are used as follows. Oversight drone operatives are unaffected by the following. So you get D3 plus 1, assuming your drone is on the board. Whenever a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative is performing the shoot action, it can only target the closest enemy operative within 8 inches of it, excluding enemy operatives within control range of other friendly Vespid Stingwing. Ooh. Can you shoot? Oh, no. Okay, okay. Gotcha. So, yeah, it's fine. I thought there was going to be a rule about shooting into melee, but obviously no, it's saying that if a Vespid is in combat, you can ignore it for you can only shoot an enemy operative within 8. So it doesn't count. You can shoot another operative. Cool. Can only target the closest enemy operative within 8. Oh, so that's so you also, therefore, if you don't have an enemy operative within 8, you can't shoot any operative. Cool. Unless you spend 1 of your communion points. For weapons with the blast and torrent weapon rules, only the first target must be selected in this way. That makes sense. Good. I do hope that they've cleaned up the wording on blast and torrent. because, man, we got a lot of questions about those. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, how are you really selecting the next operative that you're shooting? Like, what's happening there? I just hope they've cleaned that up. Whenever a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative performs a charge action, it must finish the action within control range of the closest enemy operative it can, unless you spend one of your communion points. Okay, so you can only charge the closest op. Cool, nice. Whenever you would perform the pickup marker or a mission action with a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative, you must also spend one of your communion points to do so. 4. Whenever a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative is shooting, you can spend one and only one of your communion points to reroll one attack dice. Let me tell you this. I'm telling you now, you do not have enough communion points on this team, which is good. You want this to be a precious resource, right? If you had too many, it would be boring. It's kind of like with Kassakin, they have too many elite points, and so you just get Kassakin just, oh yeah, I double crit hit you. It's like, oh, great, cool, thanks. Just guaranteed every shot because they would always spend it because they wreck you. Whereas this looks pretty good, although super vital. So it's kind of like if you think about the Nemesis Claw team, where you get your prescience points, those are just fun little bonuses. But your team is still really, really strong without it. Your team is going to kind of suck without communion points, I feel. It kind of feels that way. And you might only get 2 of them in a turn. Knowing my rolling, I'll somehow end up with 1, right? Like that's, I'm going to lose that drone turn 1. Guaranteed. I'm going to have 1 communion point for the whole game. So that's actually really cool. I like it thematically. How's it going to be balanced? If I'm just thinking about other teams, I'm assuming 10-man teams, I don't know. But it'll be between 9 and 11, let's be honest. So let's say 10. It's 11, isn't it? Because the drone. It's an 11-man team. If I have an 11-man team and I have to always shoot and charge the closest operative, I'm like, and to do a mission action, like tapping a point, I've got to use one of those communion points. That feels tough, if I'm honest. That feels really tough. Maybe there are other ways to get communion points, like if you get a kill, you get a communion point. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to need more communion points. Okay. The combination of flexible movement and command limitations make the Vespid a satisfyingly tactical kill team that rewards strategic decision-making and positioning with a chance to unleash deadly firepower. Even their most basic warriors carry a gun with a devastating 2 rule, which inflicts extra guaranteed damage whenever a critical hit is retained, and some specialist weapons like the neutron rail rifle and neutron grenade launcher can debilitate their targets with constant damage turn after turn. So obviously this used to be called mortal, like you'd do mortals, you'd see this most commonly on melters and snipers. They would do crit damage, just as soon as you retain that critical dice, they take mortals. Now it's called devastating 2, which I fine, cool. All right, let's take ourselves a look at the data sheet. APL 2, move 6. Okay. All right. I mean, I guess that's move 9 with fly. But move 6. Okay. Save 5 up. That's not great. Wounds 9. 9 is a good amount of wounds, though. So, we shall see. Neutron grenade launcher. This is our grenade launcher boy. 4 attacks hitting on 4s. Damage 3-3. Blast 2. Devastating 2. Neutron bombardment. Claws. 3-4 up 3-4. Okay. The 3-4 damage isn't bad on that. But neutron bombardment. Place one of your neutron fallout markers within the primary target's control range. Neutron fallout. Once during each enemy operative's activation, as soon as it's within 2 inches of one of your neutron fallout markers, inflict D3 damage on it. Multiple markers are not cumulative. So once during each enemy operative's activation, so it's not once per turn, it's every single activation, as soon as it's within 2. Okay, so it's not like if you finish your action on it or within 2, it's just nope. If at any point during that move you go through that 2-inch marker, bam, D3 damage. Oh, that's tasty. That's tasty. I like that. I've got to say, this is clearly mod are going to have to investigate me, but the idea of these war crime weapons are really cool. I'm just going to throw it out there. Love some radiation. Very cool. With their damage output already well catered for, the Stingwing's faction equipment is geared more towards improving their other abilities. On that subject, in the new edition of Kill Team, equipment is no longer purchased with a stock of equipment points that players need to keep track of, and instead, you'll simply select 4 different items from those available to your faction. Quick and easy. Which we know now, and I finally give up my notion that they're all narrative. That's going to include all of the universal equipment. If we look in the back of this already, we can see here, ladders. It looks like we're going to get ladders. We're going to get multiple types of barricades. We're going to get smoke grenades. We're going to get normal grenades, I assume. So, very cool. Oh, they mentioned the comms thing as well. What's the comms thing going to do? We see that in the background. It's looking very interesting, if I'm honest. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Let's keep going, because somehow we have more equipment. Vespid make use of several stimulants dispensed from their armor to sharpen their senses, supercharge their wing beats, and induce a terrifying battle rage. With communion points in such short supply, yes, I noted that. Bit of a rules designer myself, if I'm honest there. The convergent stimulant's ability to pick up a mission marker without spending one can mean the difference between victory and failure, and to make sure you get as many points as possible, a quick pump of the neurostimulant won't go amiss. Convergence stimulant. I'm not going to read the fluff, because this is dragging on. Once per turning point, a friendly Vespid Stingwing operative can perform the pickup marker or a mission action without you spending... Great, sweet. So that's exactly what I was asking for, really. Being able to only potentially tap one marker a turn, big deal. Although, there's only 3 markers on the board now, so that's totally different. There's not 6 markers you need to tap, there's 3. So, maybe mission actions are less important. I don't know. Neurostimulant. In the ready step of each strategy phase, when determining how many communion points to gain, you can roll 2d... Oh, and select 1. I thought it was just going to straight up be get 2d3 communion points. I feel like this is going to be super key to this team, because, yeah, again, you're not going to have enough points. I'm just... Guys, I'm calling it right now. The team's broken. The team needs an FAQ. And the team needs to be played with neurostimulant, because you are going to need way more communion points than you're going to get. There you go. And quick aside, that was a joke, obviously. Who knows? But I feel like the convergent stimulus is almost mandatory. Ultimately, this is a game of skill team, not kill team. Even though we now have a kill op, you cannot give up the ability to tap a marker for free, right? So, because that would be a communion point lost, which would allow you another shot, another mission action. You have to take a convergent stimulant. And why... I'm not sure how I feel about making certain equipment mandatory. In the past, if you're playing Legionary, you have to take your heavy weapon bipod, whatever it's called. But it was only 1 point, so it was a 10th of your total equipment. Now, any one equipment is going to be a quarter of your total equipment. Although, with that said, that heavy weapon bipod was so mandatory, it didn't matter what they would cost it at, you would have to take it. So if it cost 3 equipment points, you would still take it for Legionary. So I guess this is, you could just view it as an equipment tax, you have to take it. Fair enough. And likewise, you have to take the neurostimulant. So that's 50% of your faction, of your equipment gone. Interesting stuff, interesting. With their speed and flight, the Vespid Stingwings can dominate a chaotic kill zone like those represented by Kill Team Hivestorm's missions, which we'll be taking a look at soon. Until then, take a break with some short fiction tomorrow as the Tempestus Aquilons finally meet their Xenos foes in battle, and join us again next week to find out what humanity's own drop troops can do. Guys, girls, others, do you want me to do an act? Do you want me to read tomorrow's video to you? You decide now. There you go. That's your comment. Is tomorrow I take a day off from the slop? I finally get around and post my Why Does Peachy Hate Kill Team video? Or, which patrons can already view, by the way. and the unedited version. Just throwing that out there. Or do I read tomorrow's lore dump short story? Cool. Let me know. Thanks for listening. This has been Hype. Hey, if you made it to the end, I still don't have a triple hello set pirate win sound, but thank you for indulging me because I so rarely have gotten to share finding out new rules with people. It's quite fun for me. I love finding out the new rules. Normally I do it on my own in a dark room, furiously masturbating.